The structure of the Heart Sutra is so organized in such a way that it is procedural. The practice is from the basic, and then the level is increasing and increasing until up to the Bodhisattva level. If we look at the whole cosmos, the whole universe, or as people call it, the whole world, the cosmos, and sentient beings are classified into the 6 worldlings. We belong to here, human beings, the 6 worldlings. And we are in rebirth, in samsara. We go through reincarnations. Also, these are the unenlightened beings, and these are the enlightened beings. Pratyeka Buddha, Sravakas, Bodhisattvas. Buddha is already beyond the beings level. Because when we talk about beings, we classify beings in the whole cosmos into either sentient beings or non-sentient beings. Sentient beings have feelings, we have emotions, we have compassion, sometimes love, hatred, depression, jealousy, anxiety, lots of emotions, lots of feelings. And there are also the non-sentient beings. What are these? A piece of rock, stone, buildings. So those are the 2 broad categories, sentient and non-sentient beings. And sentient beings have different levels of enlightenment and different levels of karma that each category of sentient beings have already accumulated for themselves individually. So in this rebirth, in this world where we are living in, there are heavenly beings. They enjoy pleasure or happiness. Depends on different definitions of happiness, but they enjoy more happiness than human beings. Now, in the ancient sutra, there's no such thing as asuras. They only classify into 5. Heavenly beings, and then lower level is human beings. We are human beings. We are the lower level. So the sentient beings are what we call angels. The angels, they live for thousands of years, millions of years, and they only enjoy happiness. But they still have to go through rebirth. After they serve their karma of happiness, they still have to reincarnate. So heaven is not the ultimate place to go. Who would be qualified to go into heavens? If you have done only good deeds, many, many good deeds when you are in this world, abstain from killing, abstain from sexual misconduct, abstain from lying, abstain from intoxicants, etc. and etc. A lot of good deeds, your good karma would qualify yourself in your rebirth to go to heavens. So that's what we call heavens. But they're not the ultimate place to go, because you still have to reincarnate, take a rebirth later. And then there's also the human beings. Even among human beings realm, there are different levels. Some are wealthier, some are poor, some are healthy, some are not healthy, different. We're all different. Why are we all different? Because our karma are different. Karma is an accumulation of your actions, your thoughts, your speech, your behavior, everything that you have done. Karma has nothing to do with God. You created your own karma. So what's your thought, what's your action, what's your speech? You want to create good karma, not bad karma. But every day, what do? We continuously create bad karma. And then we also have a lower category, which are the spirits, and some people call it the ghosts, the spirits. And that's the animals realm. There's also the hell's realm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We only, in the ancient sutras, we only mention 5. And then later, sutras also mentioned the asuras. Because why did the ancient sutras mention 5? Because in every of this realm, that is asura. In heavenly beings, there are asuras. Asuras are those with highly competitive spirit. They want to fight. They already have accumulated a lot of good karmas because of the bad deeds, but they still have the competitive, egoistic feeling of better and better than the others. So in heaven, there is also asuras. In humans, there are also asuras. in human beings, there are those who like to compete, who like to fight, who are cruel and atrocious. The human beings levels, they are also the asuras. Asuras are the competitive, atrocious, cruel human beings. The atrocious king who killed thousands of people, all those asuras. In spirits, they are the kind ghosts and the unkind ghosts. Unkind ghosts are asuras. Not all ghosts are unkind. It's not right to think that all ghosts would really kill you, would really harm you. No, there are a lot of ghosts who are your guardians, who like to protect you. It's like humans. They're good ghosts and bad ghosts. But they are the bad ghosts too. Animals, there are asuras in animals' realm. The cruel lions, the cruel crocodiles, who kill deers, who kill tame animals. But they are also the tame animals. They are also the good animals. The cows serve humans by plowing the land. The horses move things. The donkeys, they are tame animals. They're not asura animals, but they are the cruel animals too. In hells, there's also the asuras, those guardians of hell, the gods of hell. They're the asuras. Okay, so as time goes by, they want to segregate the asuras out and they classify it into a different realm. But as a matter of fact, every of this realm has asuras. So we call it the six dwellings. So we are in here. You have to know where the position is. And there are also in these categories who are already enlightened. Of course, different levels of enlightenment. The Pratyeka Buddha, Pratyeka means at their time when they were living as humans, they didn't have the Buddha. They didn't have any Buddhist teaching. They practiced meditation and they got enlightenment through observation of universe, observations of spring, summer, autumn, winter. They observe the changeability of the world. They observe the impermanence of the world. They did it by self-meditation and observations and building up their own wisdom. And they became enlightened. We call them Buddha because Buddha, what is Buddha? Buddha as enlightened being, people who are already, individuals who are already enlightened. You can call it somebody else. It does not have to be called a Buddha. But you have to call it some people. They could be Christians. They could be enlightened Christians, enlightened Roman Catholic, Hindus. Why do we stigmatize them? We don't label anything. But you have to call it something. And the Buddha called these people, enlightened people, Buddha, simply because they're enlightened. So we don't label things. They don't really necessarily have to practice the Buddha's teaching to be enlightened, as long as the teaching is related to the enlightenment. But you have to call it something. You understand what I mean? So in other words, the Buddha can be called, I don't know what the Buddha enlightened, you can call it Buddha is A, only A stands for enlightenment. Or Buddha can be called God, you can call him God. But remember, the definition of God is not the same as Buddha. Buddha is not a creator, he's the enlightened being. Very careful when you use the word God, which is often misused by people, because when you talk about God, they stigmatize God to mean something, to mean a master that I always follow, to mean he created me, to mean he's omnipotent, I mean he is everything, he's the creator. He saved me. He can do anything. That's usually the definition of God. But the Buddha wants to get rid of that definition. That's an attachment. So there's a Pratyeka Buddha for the sake of calling it. These practitioners, they have Buddhism to listen to. They study books, they see videotapes, they got information, they build up the wisdom through their senses, through reading, through listening, and these are the Stravakas, and they are in four categories: the Srolapana, Sakridagaman, Anagaman, and Arahats. We call it the four sages. Now this is a low level, a higher level, another higher level. This is the top level for the Stravakas. We call them Stravakas. And there's also a higher level we call Bodhisattva. The Sravakas only concerned about their own enlightenment. But the Bodhisattva concerned the enlightenment for all beings. In other words, they don't want to get enlightenment for themselves only. At the same time, they want to enlighten all others. They want to give the method of enlightenment to all. But the Sravakas, if I use swimming as an example, all the Sravakas know how to swim. They won't get drowned anymore. They won't get drowned in the samsara, in the ocean of life and death. They know how to swim, but they don't necessarily save others who are drowning. They save some, but they're more concerned with themselves. There's nothing wrong with concerning with yourself. I get enlightened already. I'm out from birth and rebirth. I'm out from emotions. I'm out from suffering. That's enough. But the Bodhisattva says not enough. I want everybody, all sentient beings, to be out from life and death. I wouldn't attain that nirvana state yet. I want to come back to the world, life after life after life, to make sure everyone is out. I want to go back to the ocean of life and death to make sure that there's no one drowning anymore. Not until that ocean is pure with no drowning individuals, I will not attain Buddhahood. I will be constantly coming life after life to save, to practice, to help. So these are the Bodhisattvas. But they are already enlightened. They just want to come back here again and again. They don't want to leave their folks behind. They always want to come back. So there's different levels. The Buddha is, of course, completely out from the samsara. Now, why do I have to explain all these things again? Why do I have to explain all these different categories? Because the sutra is directed to each of these categories. Some of the words are directed towards this, and some words are directed towards teaching these people. The Buddha teaching these people, this enlightened being. Because these enlightened beings still attached to a method, still attached to a religion. They think that I have a religion to give. I have a religion to practice. I have a meditation to practice. I have a way to practice. If I give an example that I've always been giving, I have a ship to cross the ocean of life and death. That ship is important. I have that ship. But the Buddha said, abandon ship. When you get ashore, abandon your ship even. Don't attach to the ship. And these people also have a method. The method to arrive at complete enlightenment. They still attach to the method. They're already out from life and death though, but they still attach to the method. In other words, their enlightenment is not ultimately 100% enlightenment. They still think that I have a way. The Buddha, after becoming Buddha, he threw away that Buddha. Even the Buddha has to be thrown away. Then why do we need the Buddha? That's to induce us to think. But after your enlightenment, nothing you attach to. Throw away the Buddha, throw away the religion, throw away the Sutra. There's nothing left. If there's something left, you're not at it. So these are still have methods. Even Bodhisattvas still have a method. Why? I have to come back, life after life. I have to save my folks. I have my folks to save. I am the savior. I'm saving these folks. They still have a subject and an object. The subject is the savior, and the object is those being saved. Even that has to be gone in order to arrive at that higher level. So, with this information in mind, which you remember, let's get back to the sutra. We explain no form, no sound, no taste, a whole group of no by negation. Usually, in explanation, there is two sides, two methods. One is by negation, one is by affirmation. In other words, the parents explain it to the kids, say, John, don't smoke. It's no good for you. That's by negation. Do not do this by negation. John, you have to be honest. That is by affirmation. One is by affirming it, not negating anything, just affirming it. This is what you should do. The other is, don't do this. Don't intoxicate yourself. Don't drink alcohol. Don't get involved in sexual misconduct. Don't do this, don't do this. So the sutra, after using affirmation, the sutra is using negation to tell you, do not attach to eyes, do not attach to perceptions, do not attach to conception, do not attach to materials, do not attach to sound, do not attach to smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of the eyes. All this is no 18 attachments. So this is directed towards the worldlings. And then it continues, no ignorance, no extinction, no old age, no death, no extinction. That's directed towards the Pratyeka Buddhas. No suffering, no cause of suffering, no extinction, no path. That is directed towards teaching the Shravakas. No wisdom and also no attainment, because there's no object to obtain. That's directed towards the Bodhisattvas. Because the Bodhisattvas still think that I'm coming here to save. I'm coming here to give my tenderness. I'm going to the hospitals to hold patient's hand and give him the love. You still have something to give. I want to attain this compassion. I have an object in mind. I want to save these people. Buddha said, negate it. Even that. It does not mean that you don't do it. It does not mean that you have no wisdom. You don't save. You don't go to the hospital to help. You don't do anything like that. No. You've done that, but after you've done that, there's nothing to be done. You don't attach to it. You don't say, I am the Savior. I save. You don't do that. You understand what I mean? With that understanding, let's get back more. So, this side is repeating the sutra. Therefore, in emptiness, there's no form, no perception, no conception, no volition, no consciousness, no knows, nothing like this. This is directed to us because we are all attached to these things. Our 6 organs, our 6 sensory organs always attached and carried away by the 6 forms. We're always carried away by the 6 consciousnesses. 3, 6 is 18. So all these unenlightened, confused dwellings, they attach to materials, perceptions, conception, attach all these 16. We're attached to sound, smell, taste, touch, and object of mind. The Buddha said, let them go. It does not mean that you don't practice. You still practice to do not let your sensory organs be carried away by the 6 external objects. Because why? Our eyes always be carried away by materials, by beauty, by things we love to see. Our ears always want to listen to the sound we love to listen, and we're attached to them. We're infatuated with praises. We hate criticism. We hate being despised. We always have hatred, we always have love because of this infatuation, of this attachment. Our ears, and then our taste buds, we always have the infatuation of good food. Now that is a Buddha pointing out to you, oh, don't do this. They got into trouble. There's 18 rams being carried away by 6, arising the 6, all these mental functions arising at the same time, jealousy, hatred, depressions, angriness, greediness, many of these emotions arises. You attach to them, and not just attaching to them. You perform actions as a result. You perform speech as a result. You perform thinking as a result. And the Buddha said in the sutra, because this sutra only contains a very short, only 268 Chinese characters, such a short sutra, it gives you a summarization, a summary for you to think. No, none of these. So you as an individual is nothing but body and mind. It's your body and mind that confuse. It's your body and mind that carry out the bad karma, the good karma. But it's also your body and mind, if you practice it the right way, that makes you become enlightened. Don't negate this body. This body has an affirmative side, have a negative side. The negative side is always doing what? crime, killing, lying, sexual misconduct, intoxication. Your body is doing this negative part. Negative part. That's the reason why the Buddha say, negate, negate, negate. But your body is also doing the affirmative side. You love, you give passion, you're responsible, you practice, you're hardworking. You as an individual, you have morality. Those are the affirmative side. But how much of you is the negative side and how much of you is the affirmative side? You know. Then you know your karma. If you sit down and ponder about it, oh my goodness, I have more negative side than my positive side. Then you know why you are suffering. Every thought produces energy. Every thought produces karma. That's what the Buddha is talking about. So the Buddha wants to tell you who you are. How do you improve? How do you get your mistakes? How do you get your senses being carried away by the externals and how your consciousness arise? And how do you perform accordingly? The Buddha didn't say, worship me, listen to me, believe in me, and you'll be forgiven. And there's no such thing. You got to work out your own enlightenment. You got to walk your own path. You got to practice. You have to purify your own karma. Nothing can do it for you. Nobody can do it for you. Not your dad and mom and dad. Not Buddha. Not God. If God can do it for you, you don't even have to ask. He would have done it for you. If Buddha, being kind, can do it for you, he has already have done it for you. And this sutra, within so few words, already told you that's the area that you should be looking at. Your 5 skandhas, your form, which is your body, your mind, which is your conceptualization, perception, volition, and consciousness. Now, telling you this to break down the sutra into different categories is not enough. Last time we stopped at no ignorance, no extinction, no age and death, no the extinction. The practical Buddha, how did they become successful in getting enlightenment, even though the enlightenment is not 100% complete yet? What's the method that they use for achieving enlightenment? Because they didn't have the chance to be at the time of the Buddha. They just do it by observations of the universe, by observations of impermanence, by observation of causality. What method do they use generally? So the method is paticca samuppatta, that we already explained, the 12 links of dependent origination. They observe the cause and effects of rebirth by themselves through meditation. They didn't have a Buddha to teach them. We have Buddha to teach us. Historically, we have 2,600 years ago, we have a Buddha to teach us, and his teaching is still being passed down since 2,600 years ago. But now, the 12 dependent origination, paticca samuppatta. These practical Buddha, they were meditating in the deep trance, and then they observe what happened to us in our past life. We have ignorance and volition in our past life. Conditions that are responsible for the occurrence of this life. We have ignorance, we perform bad deeds, bad karma in the past life, in previous rebirths, in previous life, that brought us into this life. And in this present life, we still carry on our karma. We have consciousness, we have name and form. What is name and form? We're in the mother's womb. Form is body, name is mind. We have name and mind. Particularly our 6 senses, we're being attracted by externals, and then we contact with externals, we build up sensations. Pleasurable sensation, unpleasurable sensation, neutral sensation. We have cravings, we have desires, we have attachment, and finally we'll build up all this bad karma, all good karma. We don't necessarily do all bad things, you know. The Buddhist teaching is not just pessimistic. Everything is bad, everything is suffering. No. You've done all sorts of good karma that qualify you to become a billionaire in this life. That qualify, that makes you become a very beautiful individual, makes you become very handsome, very athletic, very, you know, you are your own builder, you know, nobody else. And then, if you are still involved with karma, you haven't got enlightenment, you cannot get out of rebirth, you carry your karma into your next rebirth. But then, you still have to experience sufferings and finally old age and death. That's your future life. You are in this chain. You're always in this chain. You and I, we always have been in this chain for many, many generations, for many, many cycles. The Buddha told us all these. You want to know about your past? Who am I? Who were I when I was in my past life? Where do I live? Oh, I live in Burma. I live in China in my past life. That's why I become very interested in the Chinese stuff. You know, people say, I'm interested in Chinese food, in Chinese things. Maybe I was a Chinese before. Well, probably. When I first went to Thailand, my first trip, I visited some temples and I had the feeling, oh, I have been here before in my previous life. Have you ever entered a place where you say, I've been here before? Have you ever met a person and you say, I met this person before? Have you ever met a person that you fell in love at first sight? You know why? He was your husband in previous life. She was your wife in your previous life. Have you met anybody you say, I hate this guy? He was your enemy in your previous life. He beat you up in your previous life. Everything has cause and effect. It doesn't come without reason. We're not talking about blind faith in here, remember. Not just worshiping and getting forgiveness from Buddha. How can Buddha forgive you everything? Forgive all your sins. The Buddha, if he can, he won't wait for you. Okay, follower, come, kneel down, and get my blessings so that your sin will be forgotten. No such thing. You can only change it yourself. It's just like yesterday, there were people asking a question, say, I was in a workplace that my colleagues, my supervisors, disliked me. I don't know what to do. In my family members dislike me, and what do? They are not right, you know. I've been trying my best, they're not right. How do I get better? I said, don't aim at getting them to change. Change yourself first. You cannot change others unless you change yourself. You change to be more tender. You change to be more responsible. You change to be more hardworking. You change to adjust to people more amicably, more friendly. You change yourself first. Don't expect your supervisors to change. How can you? Supervisors, John, change your attitude towards me, please. But you change to be more friendly. You change not to defend yourself every time. Every time when people point out your mistakes, say, no, I do this, because of that. You always find reasons to defend yourself. This morning I was explaining to an individual. I said, every time when people point out something to you, don't say, no, I didn't do that. No. You always try to defend yourself. Rarely would an individual say, oh, thank you very much. Oh, maybe that's what I did. I didn't know about it, but I like to change it. It's very good that you told me something about this. I like to change. Can you do that? Can you talk to your wife, do that? You want to talk to your wife like that. You say, hey, Jeanette, don't talk to me like that. Can you one day say, Jeanette, I really love you and there are many things I did wrong and I like to change. Give me some time to change. I like to make everything peaceful and good. Can you talk to your kids and say, hey, kids, that sometimes may not be right, and if you point something out about that that's wrong, I like to change. Just as you want to change whatever mistakes you make. It's fair, right? Let's compromise. Can you do something like that? Okay, if you break down the 12 dependent originations into cyclical categories, you say ignorance is mental defilements in the Sanskrit language, kleshas, and volition is karma. You've done all the thinking, action, and speech, and this is all suffering. Dukkha, suffering. Your senses interact with externals, induces you to suffer. Why? You're looking at a Ferrari on the street. Oh, how can I, one day can I get this? You're looking at an astonishing home, a mansion, $12 million. Oh, can I get a home like that? You create a desire in you. When you have that desire created in you, subconsciously, you want to say, I cannot satisfy my desire, but I want to do it. How can I get the money as fast as I can? You know how? By illegal means sometimes. By all means you want to achieve because of your infatuation with luxuries, with materials. And you say, okay, I'm not interested in materials. I'm a nice guy. But you're also obsessed with many other things too. You know about it.